Hello, all you wonderful Rise of Kingdoms players out there. This is Dragothien here. Today we have a new patch note to go over. We have got some big changes coming to the game. Let's talk about them. Let's see what's going on, who it benefits, what it's going to look like, and all that good stuff. So, what's it called? First off, we've got March of the Ages 1.0.48. This is the 48th technically patch note. We're going to go ahead and get started here. So what time is it coming? It's supposed to be on the 6th of July, which is just under a week from now. Usually when we see the first patch note time frame, more often than not, it's a couple days after that, but it says on around, but it's on or around 7/6/2021, likely to probably be towards the beginning of the following week or end of that first week. So just kind of buckle in for that. Probably looking at around 7/8, 7/9. There's usually some delays there. But before the update, you can download the data, get a little reward. That's kind of sweet. And then let's go into the patch notes. So number one, the biggest part of the whole shebang, Lost Kingdom March of the Ages is coming soon. We'll go live in a few kingdoms within 2 weeks after the update. Conflict and war is not simply confined to the old clash of barbarism versus civilization. Fight to recover our ancestors' legacy. So basically, let's talk about what this is actually going to be instead of going through the lore of it all. Our hopes fall to the ancient pagodas, which are part of what's going to be coming here pretty soon. Kingdoms participating in the Season of Conquest now have the opportunity to experience a whole new story, March of the Ages. Governors are no longer able to move wherever they please in this new mode, but must instead trek or march to victory by carefully planning their base, sphere of influence, and army to seize the momentum. Super large maps. Number one point here. March of the Ages maps are twice the size of any other story maps. The maps are already pretty darn big. Pretty darn big. I'm curious to see how big these maps are because they're already pretty big. And what does that mean? Does that mean we're going to have... Because in Strife of the 8, we've already got, more often than not, 20, 30 kingdoms in a map sometimes. It could be that high depending on how large the kingdoms are. So, I mean, are we talking a 50 kingdom map? Or a 60 kingdom map? That's a pretty substantial size. Number two, ancient pagodas. Governors are no longer free to move their cities wherever they will. You can't teleport wherever you want, and must first establish a foundation stone around an ancient pagoda under their control to move cities. I think this is meant to consolidate the PvP because the map is so large. It's meant to consolidate areas of PvP so that maybe you can destroy somebody else's foundation stone and claim an ancient pagoda for yourself. That kind of thing is a possibility. Otherwise, if these are neutral territories that anybody can use, it's going to be a first come first serve basis, and you're going to want to make sure that you are definitely making control of that area of your own kingdom, of your own camp, whatever it looks like. Forward camps, number three. Governors can establish forward camps at the front lines, which are critically important structures for healing troops and supplying reinforcements. Governors' careful placement of their forward camps will contribute significantly to victory on this battlefield. To me, it reads like what a fort is, like what an alliance fort is right now. You place a fort, you can teleport onto that fort, you can reinforce from that fort, obviously having your cities land on top of it, that kind of thing. Forward camps to me sound like that has that kind of flavor. Interested to see where you can place these forts, how they interact with each other. Don't know if you can attack other forward camps. I'm assuming you can by using your own camp or something like that. We'll have to find out more information as it comes out how those forward camps operate, but it looks like this is basically the mass movement structure of the new map. The supply radius. Supply radius is an area centered around a governor's city or forward camps for garrison troops and hugely impacts your troops' ability to do damage. Governors should try to limit their engagements to within the supply radius as much as possible to ensure troops can continue to deal full damage. This is interesting. So you can use the supply radius as an area centered around what should be a forward camp for garrison troops. It looks like it provides a damage buff in that area. So similar to what you have when you fight on your alliance territory right now, you have buffs that you get because you're fighting on your own alliance territory. I'm curious how this impacts commanders, where it says while off your territory or while on your territory. I'm curious how the commanders that have those in their skill descriptions are affected by the supply radius and the forward camps and things like that. We'll have to see how the mechanics work of it when they come out. Derelict Passes. The map is scattered with abandoned passes so derelict as to be impossible to control or traverse. This throws a chaotic element into the mix for every kingdom at the beginning, as each faces a different set of strategic choices, and governors must proactively plan and discuss how to overcome such challenges. So they blocked passes. It's maybe you got to rebuild the pass. I'm not sure what it's trying to get at. It looks like right now the pass is not usable. It says it's impossible to control or traverse, which means you can't capture a pass and you can't go through the pass. So to me, there's some kind of a mechanism in the previous zone. Like, for instance, in the KVK for 916 right now, we have level 5 passes coming up in, like, I don't know, 12 hours or so, 24 hours. You don't really need to do anything. You just need to connect to it with a coalition and alliances to take it down, and then you can go through it. Maybe there's some kind of a mechanism or an event in the previous zone that helps build the pass up first before you can take it. I'm not sure what that looks like. Again, there's a lot more information that definitely needs to come out for the Lost Kingdom March of Ages before we can really start to develop some strategies and start to see exactly how the mechanics of it all works. But it looks interesting. It looks different. Very interesting, especially the non-teleporting piece of it, especially with doubling the map size, getting anywhere, marching a long period of time. That strikes me as an MMO kind of thing, where you know, sometimes you have to travel for 10-15 minutes to get somewhere that you want to go, whether it's by horseback or, you know, whatever. This may have some of that flair to it. All right, number 2, Champions of Olympia improvements. So we need some of those too. Champions of Olympia was a hit with many governors, and we received a lot of good suggestions. We've taken a hard look and made the following optimizations in this update. We've modified the colors of the governor's troops on the champion system and using the intuitive red, blue, green system to mark enemy, ally, and your own troops. Makes total sense. There's been a dozen times where I've tried to click my allies' troops because they were red, and they were red because they were attacking an enemy, and it was just difficult to try and maneuver things. So that's good. Number 2, governors can tap to like and befriend other governors from the results screen. Be careful with that. I will speak from experience. When your friends list gets full, and yes, your friends list can get full, it becomes a little broken. So I didn't look in the I didn't see in the optimizations down below that I'll read anything to do with fixing the friends list or fixing the chat system. So be careful how many people you friend using this new feature. But it is a nice feature if there's somebody that you want to talk to and incorporate into your alliance or into your kingdom at some point in the future, or just obviously chat with them. You can be friends with them using the results screen. You can just tap, and I'm assuming hit add friend or something like that. Spawn zones now have shorter recovery times versus replenishment points. So spawn zones now have shorter recovery times versus replenishment points. So I'm assuming it's just basically trying to even out the healing piece versus the you died and need to respawn piece, which is good because it takes a minute or so to get completely rehealed from 0 and get your march back on the field. I thought it was fine the way it was personally. That really kind of incentivizes you to kill a player's march versus just get it really low. I think maybe a piece of that is being taken out from this strategy with this piece. So I'm not sure how this is going to impact negatively or positively. I like the way it was before. Hopefully it doesn't affect it too much. Number 4, governors can now tap and hold over an empty space on the field to command their troops to march there. That's good too. Using some of the mechanics that we already know and use in KVK and in our own kingdoms. Easy thing to do. Governors can tap the map in the top right corner to issue mark orders. I like that. So I can say, hey, everybody here, we have incoming, 4 players or whatever. That's good stuff. More control and more ability to organize is always a good thing in Olympia. The power of damaging skills on the battlefield will now change with the strength of the casting troops. So was that not happening before? That's the way it always works in regular battle. So I'd assumed that that's how it worked, in Olympia. So the power of damaging skills on the battlefield will now change. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so not your actual troops, but your skills. So the skills that you pick, the skills that you pick on your pre setup, where you're like, I want to use the AoE skill, I want to use the march speed skill, etc. So you can't drop the rocks, like the Theodore rocks, on everybody and get maximum damage when all of your troops are dead or all of your troops are like 10% health. I'm assuming that damage goes down significantly when you do that now with this new change. So that's not bad. I kind of liked it the way it was too, just because again, it was a difference maker. Like if you were losing, right, you're like, oh man, I'm getting destroyed. I'm getting tag teamed by 2 other players and I'm by myself. You could maybe bring a skill in and they've already used their skills and maybe help turn the tide. But if you're getting absolutely steamrolled and all of your marches are half health, that may not be the case anymore. So I'm not sure if I like that skill or not that change or not, but it's probably practical, I guess, is the way to call it. Okay, so other optimizations. A certain ratio of troop units this is a big one, guys. Before I go into it, this is a big one. A certain ratio of troop units that got killed during the Lost Kingdom events prior to Season of Conquest will also be returned after the end of the event. So is that going forward or is that retroactive? Because it would be nice if it was retroactive. That's basically a free, if it's the same 50% as Season of Conquest, I mean, I'm about to go up like 140 million points power. That's interesting. I wonder if they're going to make it retroactive. If they make it retroactive, I think that would be good and a nice thing to do for the older players, because a lot of the changes that are happening in the game, especially the season changes, I think is a good example, are geared towards newer players, and that's fine. You want to cater towards newer players growing the game. I understand that. I'm 100% behind it. But if you just let the players that are currently doing seasons 1, 2, and 3 of KVK get their troops back and don't let anybody else get their troops back from before, it's another little slap. So I'm interested to see if they give everybody their troops back that same ratio. I don't know if there's a problem here, and the problem probably is that they haven't recorded all that stuff. So if that's the case, it is what it is, obviously. But if I'm assuming you've recorded it up to some point at least, so something would be better than nothing. But that's a huge deal. That's a huge deal. That basically makes every KVK starting at KVK 1 a Season of Conquest KVK from a troop refund standpoint, giving you some percentage of troops back after KVK is over. That's really good. And it should incentivize players to fight more during KVK 1, 2, and 3. And then ultimately, again, it would be nice to have those if you're going to help out the older players like myself, that would be really nice, because I would love to get some of those troops back, especially after my KVKs 2 and 3. Those were very, very heavy. I probably got 11 or 12 million of my dead just from those 2 KVKs alone. So that would be very nice. But very big deal. That's a very big deal. It's a game-changing thing. Number 2, we've added an alliance log feature to make it very easy to check alliance events, members, battle information, and so on. Thank you. So I don't know what this is going to look like, but anything that you can give an alliance leader or a kingdom leader to help analyze activity, to analyze capabilities, to anything to do with the alliances, I am 100% for. 100%. We need more analytics in this game when it comes to alliance and kingdom organization. It is so difficult to do that with the current system. There isn't any. There really isn't any. There's an online button that gives you, a number that's kind of accurate, but it's not always accurate. I can't tell you how many times I've had to re-add somebody to the alliance when we're trying to remove offline players for battle. They're like, hey, I was online. What are you doing? Your tag was gray. I don't know what to tell you. Well, I'm not offline. I'm obviously here. So I had to bring them back in. I mean, we need more stuff like that. We need more analytics that are actually accurate. to help manage alliances and kingdoms. These are full-time jobs, basically, when you're doing R5 work. So the more analytics and the more data you can get your hands on, the better, 100%. Number 3, VIP 18 has been officially released, along with new exclusive buffs and VIP special bundles. Now, it says has been officially released. It doesn't say will be officially released. Is this a typo, or is this a hint that VIP 18 will be coming before the patch? Or at least it'll be revealed before the patch. I don't know. Also, interested to see what the VIP special bundle is, because they're only releasing one VIP level, which means it shouldn't be a commander unless they give 690 sculptures or 700 sculptures for the commander. And it's like a $500 bundle. Interested to see what the bundle is. It could be equipment, could be materials, speed ups, resources, all the normal stuff, all the normal jazz that you would get in a normal bundle. Maybe akin to like the level 16 VIP 16 bundle would be my guess. Something like that, where you got like the Treasure of the Lost Kingdom. Maybe there's a top tier Heroic Anthem accessory in there, or something like that. Obviously, I would buy that in a heartbeat if it's in there, and I will make sure I have that on my March almost immediately. Also, exclusive buffs. We have no idea what those buffs are. If it's VIP 18, again, this is usually the high spenders, guys, the top spending players with bigger accounts, with a lot of maxed equipment, a lot of maxed commanders, generally 9 times out of 10. So the buffs will likely be something to affect damage, something to affect material production speed, something to affect proc chance on equipment. Maybe that'd be kind of cool. Stuff like that. Things that will improve the top tier stuff of the game. That will likely be what it is, I'd imagine. If it's maybe March speed or something like that. If it's something like, nonsense, I'm going to be very upset. I'm going to be very upset, because I've got enough VIP points saved up on my main account and my main in 307 to basically get to 20 whenever they bring out 20. So I'll be bringing that to you on the channel as soon as it comes out. Number 4, we have modified Osiris League Grand Finals format. 4 teams will enter. Semifinals will be decided by a single match, and then the victory in the finals will be best of 3. Pretty cool. So the question is, the only question is on this this number here is best of 3. Well, if they win the first 2, do they also play the third? Usually in sports, they just drop the third game because there's no chance of them winning. But I've seen in the past, like the Invitational that they did, where they let it play out even though there was a 0% chance of one side winning. So interested to see if it's going to be for 4 weeks guaranteed, or if it will be possibility of only 3 weeks. So we'll have to get some more information on that. I'll let you guys know that in the description below or in the comments below. Number 5, we have imposed numeric. This is a big one for everybody too. This is what a lot of people have been asking for. We have imposed numerical caps on the ability of governors to enter new kingdoms using the beginner teleport to help foster a better player experience and ecosystem within such kingdoms. This is a further stab at jump groups. Okay, so you can only get to now a certain number, or you can only go so far forward based on your level with the new stuff. So if you're in a jump group, now's the time to get your stuff done, because if you wait, there's a good chance you might not get into the kingdom that you want to, or you might not be able to get into the kingdom that you're wanting to as a group. So just be keeping that in mind, because if you go over a certain number that's not listed here yet, you may not be able to teleport at all. Number 6, we have fixed Harold Sigerson's Stamford Bridge skill to match the description. Note its strength in combat remains unchanged. We'll take a look at that after we're done reading the next 2 patch notes. Improved readability of Bastion Quest rules and descriptions. That's nice. Number 8, empowering kings. So added the new king skill Exile with the following effect. A city with an active peace shield will be forced to randomly teleport to their initial province. If the city does not have a peace shield on, then it will take 5% increased damage for the next 30 minutes. So if there's somebody causing some strife in your kingdom, and they're just trying to be rogue and all that stuff, which is fine. That's part of the game, guys, right? That's part of the game. You just need to handle it. Now the king has an ability to where you can cast this ability, and if they bubble, because they're getting attacked, then they get sent to a zone 1 probably, is what I'm reading with this, which means that unless they get access to another alliance that's in zone 2 and 3, you've basically cordoned them off into zone 1. So, and who wants to just sit there in zone 1? Although now zone 1 has level 6 tiles, so from a farming standpoint, that's not really that big of a deal. Obviously, from a fighting standpoint and, you know, forts and things like that, you're not going to have what you need to grow your account. But at the same time, people that are doing stuff like this generally don't care about those things. So, interesting to see. And then it will also take 5% increased damage for the next 30 minutes. I wonder if this is stackable with Imprison. So if I imprison somebody, can I also exile them so that they take 5% damage and they can't move? Curious to know if those are stackable. That's a lot of gems though for somebody, so you better hate that person for sure. So let's go ahead, and that's the patch notes. I think overall, some big changes. Obviously a new KBK, changes to Olympia, some new king skills, which are really, really nice. We also got, again, some changes to jump groups. We've got some, this one right here is intriguing me. The certain ratio of troop units that got killed during the Lost Kingdom event prior to Season of Conquest, so Season 1, 2, and 3, and earlier before there were seasons, right, will also be returned after the end of the event. So do the older players get their stuff back? That's the question. That's what I will be asking my contacts is, does everybody get their stuff back, or is it just going forward? I'll be curious to know the answer. Okay, so let's take a look at Stamford Bridge for Herald, and then we'll wrap the video up. Herald. Varangian Guard, Stamford Bridge. Okay. When troops led by this commander are on the map and use their normal attack, the commander has a 20% chance to cast their active skill and grant their troops immunity to all defense reduction effects for 3 seconds. This skill can trigger once every 5 seconds. So is this fixing the trigger with like Trajan, for instance? When troops led by this commander on the map and use their normal attack, this commander has a 20% chance to cast their active skill and grant their troop. Okay, yeah. So there's other commanders that say when an active skill is cast, it provides another buff. This was triggering all their stuff. So for instance, Trajan, they will deal additional direct damage to the current target when the active skill is used. This was triggering and increased damage dealt to the target by 20%. That's huge. This was getting triggered non-stop by Herald when Stamford Bridge was firing, because it's considered reusing the active skill, which is Berserker. So I'm assuming this is maybe a fix so that this doesn't trigger those other skills. If so, that significantly nerfs Trajan Herald, big time, in fact, and any other combo with Herald where active skills being used cause buffs or debuffs to the target or whatever. Okay, so if that's what that is, because I can't see any other thing that needs to be fixed, right? Skill can trigger once every 5 seconds. Reduction to defense reduction effects last for 3 seconds. I mean, that part should have always been working, right? So we'll have to do some testing after we get the patch, because right now, again, that triggers all those active skill based triggerable skills. So, all right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope I've been clear on describing what this patch is going to provide for you all. I'm going to try and get an account in a kingdom that will be getting and doing the new March of the Ages KBK, so I can showcase that for you guys as well. Definitely looking forward to bringing that to you on this channel, so stay tuned for more content on that. And certainly, as always, make sure you have a good time. Enjoy your week, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers. Have a good one, and take care.